The first-ever criminal trial of a U.S. president, which began in Manhattan on April 15th, is the culmination of a case that has been hotly contested since it was unveiled last spring. Donald J. Trump, former president of the United States and presumptive Republican nominee for upcoming presidential election in November, has thus become the first-ever president to face a criminal trial in the history of the United States. Manhattan prosecutors charged Trump last year with 34 felony counts of falsifying business records in the first degree to cover up a sex scandal, an illegal hush money payment made to a porn star, Ms. Stormy Daniels, days before the 2016 presidential election, who said she had a sexual encounter with Mr. Trump in 2006. The importance of this trial lies in the fact that this being the one and only trial that Donald Trump will face before the election in November 2024. Prosecutors accused that Michael D. Cohen, Trump's former fixer, had paid Ms. Stormy Daniels $130,000 to keep quiet as per Mr. Trump's direction. After Mr. Trump won the election, the new president reimbursed Mr. Cohen and his company by disguising the purpose of the payments in corporate records, stating they were for a legal expense. Mr. Trump was charged with falsifying documents to cover up that payment. The payoff to Ms. Stormy Daniels is not the only such deal that prosecutors plan to highlight. Apart from case of Ms. Daniels, two other hush money deals were made by the National Enquirer. The first involved the tabloid's payment of $30,000 to a former Trump Tower doorman, Dino Sajidin, who claimed to know that Mr. Trump had fathered a child out of wedlock. National Enquirer also made a payment to Karen McDougal, Playboy's Playmate of the Year in 1998, who wanted to sell her story of an affair with Mr. Trump during the 2016 campaign. She reached a $150,000 agreement with the tabloid, which bought the rights to her story to suppress it. Office of the District Attorney accused Mr. Trump of orchestrating a broader scheme to influence the 2016 presidential election by directing his allies to purchase damaging stories about him to keep them under wraps. Falsifying business records in New York State can be a misdemeanor, but it can be elevated to a felony if prosecutors prove that the records were falsified to conceal another crime. In this case, there are three potential additional crimes that attorney has accused Mr. Trump of concealing: a federal campaign finance violation, a state election law crime, and tax fraud. The campaign crimes, prosecutors say, involve the hush money payoffs to Ms. Daniels and Ms. McDougal. The payments, they argue, were illegal donations to Mr. Trump's campaign. The potential tax fraud stems from the way in which Mr. Cohen was reimbursed for his payment to Ms. Daniel. The expectation is that many potential jurors will be Manhattan Democrats. Because of concerns about the privacy and safety of the jury, the judge restricted the release of identifying information. The panel includes 7 men and 5 women from neighborhoods around the city. Some are middle-aged, and some are young. 6 alternates were also selected and will listen to the testimony in case one of the seated jurors drops out. The former president's lawyers are hoping to spot sympathizers and will focus on younger black men and white working-class men. Mr. Michael D. Cohen, the former fixer, is expected to be a crucial witness for the prosecution. His testimony could take days. The prosecutors are also expected to call David Pecker, the former publisher of the National Enquirer, as well as Hope Hicks, a former campaign and White House aide to Mr. Trump, to shed light on the tumultuous period surrounding the hush money payments. Ms. Daniels and Ms. McDougal could be witnesses as well. Justice Juan M. Merchan, known for his strict control of proceedings, is a veteran judge and has issued a gag order barring the former president from attacking prosecutors, witnesses, court staff, and the judge's own family members, after a series of angry posts on Trump's Truth Social account and elsewhere. The district attorney is Alvin L. Bragg. He has bet his career on the case's outcome, argues that the payment was Mr. Trump's original act of election interference. Mr. Trump has denied all wrongdoing. He denied the charges and having had sex with Ms. Daniels. He also assailed the district attorney, Alvin L. Bragg, for bringing the charges, accusing him of carrying out a politically motivated witch hunt. He has attacked the judge, Juan M. Merchan also, and criticized the gag order imposed by Judge. Mr. Trump's lawyers argue that Justice Merchan has a conflict of interest, citing his daughter's work as a Democratic political consultant. Trump has assailed Mr. Bragg as a racist and sought to change the conversation by blaming the district attorney for violent crimes in New York City. Mr. Cohen, in particular, has felt the brunt of the attacks from Mr. Trump, who has sued him, called him a rat, and referred to him as death. During the rally prior to trial, Mr. Trump repeated his claims that he won the 2020 election and that Democrats cheated him out of a victory several times. At a rally in eastern Pennsylvania, alluding to his frequent assertion, he said that President Biden orchestrated the case. But nothing is ever certain with Mr. Trump, but he is currently expected to attend much of the trial, and he attended each day during jury selection. To be absent from courtroom sessions, he would need to seek a waiver from the judge. Strict security measures are expected for the trial as per Edward A. Caban, the police commissioner, as he said that his department is prepared to handle it. The right-wing activist Laura Loomer said she planned to head to the Manhattan courthouse with a camera crew for trial. The New York Young Republican Club was planning rallies at Collect Pond Park. Stephen K. Bannon will arrange shows recorded outside the courthouse. The area will be crawling with police officers and the U.S. Secret Service, and, for a few weeks, the general disruption will alter the flow of life on the city's downtown streets. A lawyer for Mr. Trump, Emile Bove, agreed that the trial was of huge importance. Trump's lawyers will be hoping for an acquittal or for a holdout juror, which could lead to a mistrial. If he is convicted, Trump will appeal, a process that could take the process months or longer. For all classy felonies that Mr. Trump is charged for, if found guilty, carry a maximum prison sentence of 4 years. Justice Merchan has made it clear that he takes white-collar crimes seriously and could throw Mr. Trump behind bars. For now, he faces no formal campaign restrictions, beyond having to be present in a courtroom, and he remains highly competitive in polls. But if he is convicted, the Constitution and American law will have no clear answers for many questions that will arise. 1. Mr. Trump is registered to vote in Florida, and he would be disenfranchised there if convicted of a felony in any of the states. So, if Mr. Trump is imprisoned in trial, he could be in the extraordinary position of being deemed fit to be voted for, but unfit to vote. 2. Legally, Mr. Trump would remain eligible to be president even if he were imprisoned. In practice, the election of an incarcerated president would create a legal crisis that would almost certainly need to be resolved by the courts. The Manhattan proceeding may be Trump's only trial before the election. 2 federal cases, as well as another state case in Georgia, could all be pushed back until after voters decide whether to once again elect Trump or re-elect President Biden in November. This is not a sensational murder trial, but ongoing events in relation to the trial is unraveling a unique and unprecedented situation in the political, constitutional, and legal circle in U.S., as it could test the resilience of its legal institutions and the very basic concept that no individual is above the law.